welcome to a new episode of Today's Youth, and we're delighted to be joined here at the studio today by Mario Ahmed. He's a petroleum engineer and he's also a member of the Presidential Leadership Program. He will tell us more about his education and his experience. Thank you very much for joining us, Mario.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me here in the program, and I'm so grateful for all the stuff.
Right. Mario, tell me, you studied petroleum engineering and you're now pursuing your postgraduate studies also in petroleum engineering. Yeah. You finished your master's degree and now you're in your PhD studies, right?
Yeah.
Tell me more about your postgraduate studies.
First of all, I finished the baccalaureate degree from SUS University in Petroleum Engineering in 2014. After that, I went for the master's degree in Cairo University. I finished that 2019. Now I am about to finish the PhD in SUS University back again. It's all in petroleum engineering. The master's degree was done in the shale gas, hydraulic fracturing of shale gas I have talked about with you. Mm-hmm. And for the PhD, I'm doing something for the nanoparticles of limestone or calcium carbonate mm-hmm. for the cement industry.
Right. You had a very special research in your field, in petroleum engineering.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this research.
First of all, I'm focusing on all the postgraduates on the energy that's saving the environment, like the shale gas, because the gas we are transforming for gas. All the stations now have the gas parts inside it. But for also the PhD, I'm doing the nanoparticles, and the nanoparticles is also effective in the low carbon industries for reducing the carbon emissions, because now you have seen like the hot weather is all over the world. So we're going through the transformation to the green environment, and we are having this to move forward for this.
Mm-hmm. Right. Tell me more about your projects in preserving the environment and how are you participating in this field?
Through this, I'm working under the leadership of Dr. Heidi El-Mougi. She is the leader for Ihya initiative, and she has her own successful project in the field of environment. It's called Wadi Degla, and it's a very successful case study. I'm working with her for this. It's serving the environment in the best way. You know, the government has exerted a lot of efforts in the last period, and we have talked for the COP27. You know, the old people came from all over the world. They have talked with each other, came up with regulations and a lot of systematic things to do these things. So now we are in the execution stage. We are mm-hmm. executing these things to move forward for this. Mm-hmm. So we are starting, like the government is putting the fund in the banks. If your project is green, they are giving you a good fund for it. They are, especially Dr. Yasmin, the Minister of the Environment, have talked about.
Right, Dr. Yasmin,
yeah,
Minister of Environment.
She has
right.
talked about the environment and involving the youth for this, and also for having the fund for them. Mm-hmm. So how we are making the best use for this? This is the Ihya initiative, and the main project in this is Wadi Degla. It's focusing on like making a sample of setting the boundaries of any environment that is reserve, natural reserve, mm-hmm. and putting the boundaries for it, because it's in nature, it's open. Mm-hmm. Then you are choosing the elements. What is the right. focus, the main focus of this? If it is the
what
water.
Are the main objectives of the project?
Having the maximum varieties of environments, natural reserves, in order to satisfy all the choices of the visitors. Like you know that Germany is very interested in the in natural environments, natural energy. So you are satisfying them at maximum ratio of this. So we are choosing the places they like, the animals they like, everything, and it's like an auditing. You know, auditing, you are doing the best thing to get the maximum outputs between two parties, the government mm-hmm. and the investor, encouraging the investors for more investing in Egypt.
Right. Let me just go to a short break and we'll be right back with you.
Okay, you're welcome.
welcome back, dear viewers, and still with my guest Mario Ahmed, petroleum engineer. We were talking about environment and preserving the environment, and of course COP27. Mario, tell me more about your experience during COP27 and what was your role over there.
COP27 was a dream in action, in the real day. Like we were doing something, for me, it's a great achievement for Egypt in the current ages. Like you have everybody coming from all over the world to see the land of purity, Sharm el-Sheikh. It's a very great land, and everything is organized. Their flights, I worked with the flights first, and then I worked with the accommodations, and it was some systematic things later. So, everything is systematic. The guest is coming, seeing his accommodation, the flight, even the meetings were focusing on specific points. The people related to the accommodation and the buildings, people related to environment, people related to regulations, the systematic places, even all the leaders of Egypt has come to attend it. So it was a very big event, come with the great outcomes for the applications. We came up with regulations. The whole world came with the regulations, and we are executing this. So it's a good way to collect all the people from all over the world and get the outcomes of their minds, the challenges in their environments, and how they are overcoming it. So you come with a general thing that is applicable everywhere.
Right. Tell me about your own personal experience regarding your project within the COP27. Did you discuss your project over there? What were the main outcomes that helped you out in implementing your project?
Unfortunately, I couldn't discuss it. Like I was not talking to everybody for it, but I attended sessions like the people talking about nanoparticles in this. So they are working in the same project I'm working on, but they just registered before me. So it's like I talked with them. I made the meeting points for the application of nanoparticles to get the outcomes for reducing the carbon emissions in cement, because cement industry is the highest carbon emission industry in the world. Mm-hmm. So if you reduce the carbon emissions of it, and you reduce the environmental pollutions, and you are doing your best to get the product without pollution, and come with the regulations. How are the banks also funding this? Mm-hmm. Like how the banks are funding this? If you are doing things for filters for the smoke coming from the factories, they are giving you extra fund or extra loans. And if you are against this, how you are punished? What is the punishment that can make you straight again, not lose you? So mm-hmm. how to do all these things simultaneously in the same time.
Mm-hmm. Right. In your opinion, and after your experience with COP27 and your personal experience with your project, you're implementing a very important project in the field of environment. What do you think are the most important factors that we should be working on to reduce carbon emissions?
Stages, all the stages, like come from the beginning, come from the raw material we are using. For example, you have two raw materials in Egypt, the calcium carbonate coming from the south of Egypt, for Minya, which is far away. It's going to be a little bit expensive for the transportation. And you have now in Shatt Taban, for example. You are choosing this one in Shatt Taban because it is near, but it's giving high carbon emissions. The one in Minya is 99.9%. 0.7% of calcium carbonate purity, so it's giving the highest purity, so with the lowest emissions. Mm-hmm. So start with the raw material, the right raw material. It is a difference of 20 Egyptian pounds per ton, but we are choosing the one who is cheaper, 20 Egyptian pounds per ton, which is nothing. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that the machine is itself, all the machines, how you can fix them or change them. If the economic situation is not allowing changing them, at least change the last parts of it, or fix the last part of it responsible for the outcomes, the smoke coming into the atmosphere, how you make the filters, how you make this through the bank funds. Use the bank funds, don't do this yourself. The fund is not a problem, by the way. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of open funds for the people to get it. And how to use this for saving the environment. The whole world is going hot, even Europe, even the States, then South America, even Egypt, even everywhere in the world is going hot. Mm-hmm. So something is happening. So we need to take care of these parts. It's something necessarily. We're not talking about subsidiary thing Like even it's affecting the electric consumption, it's affecting the conditioning, so it's affecting everything. So we have to take care of this and use the projects funded by the government. Like the government's opening initiative for this, you work on the environment. Making the best way, like the way we are working in our team for Wadi Degla, for example. So these things, you are putting an example how to use the government fund and the government programs for saving the environment and bringing profit through the visits from the tourists.
Right. Mario, you're also a member of the Presidential Leadership Program. Tell me more about the program and how did you, on a personal level, benefit out of this program?
First of all, the choice was not that easy, but I liked my experience there. It's like you are educated in everything. You are educated in everything and all specialisms. And for me, it was a surprise because I'm a petroleum engineer the whole of my life. Like I studied petroleum engineering, drilling. So studying politics, studying law, studying these things makes me like I have open mind. I'm well prepared. In the past,
it broadens your scope.
Yeah, you're ready for the responsibility because the name is Leadership Program. So qualifying the future leaders of Egypt. So having this step and being qualified was not in the past. The past, you were qualifying yourself, you are trying to find a way for this. But now, you are qualified by the government itself, which is extra step by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who is always responsible for like giving a lot of experience for the youth and depending on the youth and encouraging them and helping them. So this is a presidential program.
Right. Of course, the Presidential Leadership Program was one of the main initiatives by the Egyptian government to empower youth. So how do you see the different steps taken by the Egyptian government to empower youth so far? We've seen a lot in addition to the Presidential Leadership Program. For example, we have also the youth forums, the youth conferences that were held here in Egypt, international youth forums gathering youth from different countries around the world. So tell me, how do you assess the main steps or the many steps that were taken to empower youth?
The conferences is an excellent thing, and also, by the way, the people responsible for it are mainly not everything from the presidential program. The presidential program is the seat for this, but they are broadening the scopes in all specialisms. You now see in the government, every sector has its own training programs. Also, the people graduating from the presidential program going to their sectors and they are giving their experience to people around them easily. For me, really 100% me, Mario, before the presidential program is something else after the presidential program. I became totally different in my work and everything. I'm doing everything in many ways. Like if, for example, I'm responsible for a drilling rig. I am seeing the drilling rig now, oh, it should produce, it should avoid. No, now I'm looking at the regulations, I'm looking at the environment, I'm looking at the atmosphere, I'm looking at the paperwork, I'm looking at how the policies can be changed for the best outcome for the government itself.
Right. Talking about you on a personal level, what are your plans for the future? Right, we're going to go to this short break first and we'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm still with my guest, Mario Ahmed, the petroleum engineering, and we were talking about the different steps taken by the Egyptian government to support youth, to empower youth. And of course, Mario, one of the main achievements that you attended recently, a conference in the United States, you were talking about your research and your work as a petroleum engineer. Tell me more about it.
I have talked about shale gas. You know, the United States of America is the source of shale gas. They started the shale gas. So being in the source area, the source people, I have talking in Egypt here for the shale gas for 7 years, theoretically. But now I'm talking to the people, the reality. I have met one of the consultants, and he took me with him to his company and showed me how they work. And I had a great experience about seeing my dream. One of my dreams is being achieved in the reality. But I have one thing that is still not applicable, it's still innovative. I couldn't tell him because I am not legally there, but I'm just a conference, like not legally resident. I'm just a conference visitor, legally visitor. So being there and having the experience and seeing everything, I like it to see it. So having the, like you see the gas in the pipes. You are talking about shale gas. You have it in the pipes. So it's a great experience for me. And the next step is that I will represent Egypt in the Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Engineering Conference.
Great.
ADIPEC. In the next October, I will be talking about the PhD. It's one of the requirements of the PhD is to talk about this in the conference. So I will be talking in it about the nanoparticles. In this, I will be representing Egypt, and there will be a speaker, official speaker there in next October.
Great. Well, that's all great achievements. Well, Mario, as one of the very successful Egyptian young youth, and you're pursuing your PhD degree, tell me, what do you think is the role of the youth towards their countries? I mean, the country is doing a lot for the youth, empowering youth. So what do you think is the role of the youth towards their country?
In the past, it was just to work, but now it's just to put yourself in the shoes of the responsible person and try to find how to reach and how to work with him. You know, the current situation is totally crowded, and it is systematic in things, but still crowded in some parts. So how to apply these suggestions, especially the government is listening and applying. So this is the time of the youth to put themselves in the shoes of the governing people and the people responsible for the government, and apply the projects for them, send the projects for them, and they discuss it and try to go with an outcome. You are here, I will tell every young person, you are here in Egypt now, and Egypt is going through a new stage. You know, you now see the buildings, they see the administrative capital. So this is a great achievements by the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
Well, I would like to thank you very much, Mario Ahmed, the petroleum engineer, one of the very successful petroleum engineers, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the best positions serving your country. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
And dear viewers, that brings us to the end of this edition of Today's Youth. Many thanks for watching, and don't forget to join us next week, same time. Till then, goodbye.